The biggest Trojan horse in modern history is TikTok. The consumers of TikTok are literally getting brainwashed. It's scary.
How do you feel about the ability of AI to actually take away the high-level thinking of the lawyers, of the accountant?
Elon Musk was asked about this for AGI to be able to take over. He said less than 3 years.
Sam Mollaei got fired recently, and there's a whole debacle about it.
They had a huge discovery, which they realized that actually be smarter than humans, actually override humans.
As always, I'm your host, Navid Rahimian, CPA. I'm super excited to introduce my new guest, Sam Mollaei. Sam, I know I've known you for years. I think we just quantified it, so it was like 25 years now. Sam owns a series of law firms as well as focuses on helping law firms scale and grow their businesses. So I'm going to get right into it, Sam. Everyone wants clients. Everyone's looking to grow. Everyone's has that struggle. How is it so easy for you to get new clients to your businesses?
I feel like a lot of people go down the traditional routes. What I like to do is I like to stick to the online sources because it's just a lot more, there's a lot more opportunities and it's a lot easier to scale. Mm-hmm. A lot easier to scale means you just have more room to grow a lot quicker without necessarily you doing more work. Mm-hmm. With the least amount of effort. So over time, I figure out the right sources that generate the most clients for lawyers. And there's two types of marketing.
Okay.
There's organic, which is pretty much creating content, creating value, answering people's questions, things like that. And there's also paid advertising, which is you kind of pay for you to get in front of those people. And I've done both. And I started off with organic. But over time that I learned, where I thrive at is on the paid side.
Okay.
So I've been able to kind of master Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and TikTok ads for generating clients online. And essentially, it's all based on a framework of funnels, which I could quickly explain. It's basically be able to qualify leads and be able to collect lead information upfront. Then at that point, we want to nurture the leads, educate them on whatever that is that we're trying to get them to. The third is to set up automations, automated texts and emails that could be systematically sent out to these leads as soon as the lead comes in, later in the day, next day, and the following day, and the following week, and the following month, and the following year, just in case they haven't signed up yet. We set up the systems once, we make sure that it's optimized, make sure it's working. We refine things over time, but once you get it going and once you set up this whole system, then as long as you have the right traffic sources, your right lead sources, then they will be coming 24/7 around the clock. Your systems are taking care of the follow-ups. Then what we also do is we get a lot of virtual people that could help sign up clients for us. That's managed by in-house people. And we basically set up the systems over and over to kind of scale the client generation for our law firms.
It's very impressive, and I think it's an interesting concept, right? When you said a couple of those things, automatically I assumed a couple of things different that you would say. You mentioned organic marketing versus paid ads, right? If I were to have the opportunity, let's say, to have this really successful organic platform versus paying out of my pocket for ads, I figure intuitively I'd want to go towards the organic platform. Why is it for you that you think that paid ads, because you have to pay out of pocket to get in front of people, get those impressions, is it more scalable for you? How is that?
It's just the timing. It's just much, much, much quicker to get quicker results on paid ad sites versus organic. Yes, organic is great and it compounds too. If you stick to organic, especially for a couple of years, the stuff that you've done before adds on to what you're doing now. There's good benefits of that. But if I need clients in the next 30 days, I need 30 clients, then I could do that with paid. I could never do that with organic. No matter how good my content is, it still takes time for people to discover you and to find your content valuable. So yeah, just the quickness of the results.
So I guess to go for full circle there, assuming I have a very successful organic platform, do you feel like that would be the best source?
I wouldn't just if you have a top organic, great. But who says you can't also add on and the source? A lot of times I found like a lot of people try to find or opportunities, which one is better. I never think about which one's better. It's about, is this profitable? Is this profitable? Is this profitable? Is this profitable? And I'm going to try to find as many profitable sources as I can. As long as it's profitable, by all means, I could have 20 different sources.
Sure.
So yeah, then just add on those sources.
Yeah, because to your point, it could be if you're someone new working on building out content and going the full organic route, it could be years until something like that is actually profitable. So in your perspective for that, it's, it's not both. I mean, it's not one or the other. You want to continue to grow your organic platform, but also invest in the paid ad space.
Correct.
That's interesting. Now, if I were to go and invest in paid ads, is there some sort of, people talk about a stigma to that, like, oh, this guy's just sponsoring ads and going after that. What do you say to the people that are like, I don't want to do that. I want to give organic. I want to organically give content. I don't want to have to pay for me to be present. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Totally. And it really comes down to the business and what they want. There's some type of businesses that want to grow a little bit more sustainably, a little bit more. They want to have the higher value clients, maybe a little bit more nurtured type of clients that are easier to deal with. And there is also a type of businesses that are looking to grow and scale very quickly. So this really does lend itself to that scalable type of business that's looking to grow very quickly. Right. Can you do that and have a good business and do well? Yes. But you could also, if you want to do hyper growth, then I would say that's what it takes. It's not, in business, it's not how it makes you feel. It's just about, what's the result that you want. And you just make that decision based on the result you want. Not necessarily, do I have to put myself out there and run ads and things like that? I don't have any special affinity towards it, but I do have an affinity towards the result. So if the result is that, then that's what I want. Then that's what I'm going to do.
Got it. Do you defer your mechanism? I'm sure your process is different with any type of industry, right? Everything, your strategy is a bit different with, like, let's say, you operate in the legal space. Let's say between lemon law and, let's say, employment law. Is your strategy different?
Surprisingly, it's a lot more universal than people think.
Wow,
by far. Across different practice types, across different businesses, across different things. That more or less, once you really, especially when you do it over and over and over again, you realize there's a commonalities between it. The commonality is it's a set of people that have problems or desires or needs, and your part of your service can solve that problem. And typically, let me just simplify it to a practical level. When somebody has a problem, they either are going to go seek somebody that can help solve the problem, or you have to come and interrupt them and tell them, hey, if you have this problem, I could help you. So if it's somebody who's problem aware, is going to go on Google or YouTube to go search for a solution, which leads itself to Google Ads and YouTube and Google Organic and Google LSA and all those things. However, there's also a set of people that are not necessarily problem aware. They could have the problem, but they don't realize they even have that problem. Let's just say, for example, is just somebody who's bitter about their marriage or whatever, and and then all of a sudden they see an ad. They're like, if you've been dealing with this issue, we can help you. So that person wasn't necessarily seeking a therapist or seeking somebody. Like, but wait a minute, actually, I do have this problem, and now it's because that person was able to interrupt them in a regular day on their Facebook feed or on their YouTube before they were about to watch a video. Now that person could come and get in front of them and lead them down the funnel and, essentially get them booked on a call to see how we can help. So
you're telling me you're getting in front of people who don't know that they have a problem, but they have a problem, but they have a problem, and you're able to capture that and solve their problem.
Correct. And the way you message that out is there's an art to it. But once you figure out that art and how to speak to those types of people, then you could take that and run it across any practice type or across any businesses. And good thing is, in the past couple of months, instead of me just storing this art to myself, I've actually been able to write out this art, write out this SOP of this is how I want you to write messaging and write ads. And I've been able to create agents, ChatGPT agents with GPT. OpenAI just 2 weeks ago released GPTs. Create this GPT agent that has my framework and examples and more instructions and more examples. Wow. So that and then at the end, the instructions I want you to ask me what type of law do I do, in what practice type. Ask me what problems my potential clients have, what result that they're seeking, and what the call to action should be, so that the person who's about to use this GPT agent you can ask them those questions to be able to tailor this advertising for them. So yeah, very universal. And
blew my mind, bro.
Yeah.
So kind of going back there, right? I mean, how did you start? What was your path to this thing? Were you introduced? Are you kind of a graduate of the ClickFunnels space, or where did you start to learn some of this stuff?
Essentially, I think the overarching theme is scratching my own itch. I started my first law firm, I believe in 2015, so it's been 8 or 9 years, soon to be 9 years. And I didn't have a mentor, and I didn't know how to run a law firm, how to generate clients, how to, take care of my clients. And I basically had to teach myself everything. And essentially it just came down to YouTube, a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of books, right? I basically had to teach myself how to do these things. And good part is I had a law firm to apply to, as I wasn't just learning things for the sake of learning. As soon as I would learn it, I would go apply it. I taught myself how to run Google Ads. Then I taught myself how to create landing pages. Then I learned about ClickFunnels, so I created my first funnel. Then slowly, as I was getting more and more results, I'm like, wait a minute, I see some commonalities between these. There's always a traffic, which is where my leads come from, and I have to bring them to a funnel to go to qualify them and get them signed up. Once I sign them up, I'm going to onboard them. I'm going to have VAs take care of them. The VAs can do the customer service for them and take care of them. And if I need to have lawyers that can also be involved in this whole process, and I could rinse and repeat the systems. So it wasn't something that I never ever planned out to create multiple law firms and get into, but it was continuing down the route of what gave me the result and continuing it. And I always ask myself, what's the next step? What's the next step? That was one part. The second part is a mindset of always replacing myself. I learned this from our mentor. We both have somebody that in our life who is able to mentor us. This concept is replace yourself constantly. So I took that to heart, and I've been the past years, 5-6 years, I've been just constantly replacing myself. That means I go through the whole process. I know what it takes to do it. And then the next stage is for me to delegate that out, get the next person in to take care of that, manage them if I need to. And even now, if I'm managing, the next step is to hire the manager that could manage that person and continue to do that. The next level is directors. The director who manage it, who directs the managers, who's managing the day-to-day operators. And now I'm at the last couple of years has been kind of me working with the directors for the most part. And now the stage that I've been in the last couple of months, I would say, is even getting myself out of that kind of working with the directors for the most part and letting the directors do their thing. There's that constantly the evolution of like, what is the next step and getting myself out of the picture.
Yeah, it's an incredible journey. It seems like also a never-ending journey, doesn't it? Because I think one of the most beautiful things about business is the beauty and the imperfection, because you can always improve your business. And like every time I get up, look for an opportunity to improve, and I share some of the same mentalities with you as it relates to delegating for development, and just trying to implement that next step. It's always another challenge, another challenge, because I know you're all about being able to scale your businesses, to be able to work on your businesses and being a little bit hands off. At the end of the day, I think if you agree, all our goals are, I want my business to run the way it's working without me having to work a day in it, right? That'll be the ultimate goal, right? To be able to just sit back and have it run as smooth and great as it was when I was spending 80 hours a week on it. That would be like the ultimate success story. And so when I see that, and when I see some of the little like tiny successes, I'm like, okay, what's the next step? Where do I go? But I don't know, and maybe it's just because I haven't reached it yet, and maybe you have. I don't know if that ever is going to be okay. I'm done. I won. It's done, because I wake up every day hungry to get it better and better, and I think there's always room for that improvement.
Yeah, and I don't think there will ever be an end, and you shouldn't expect an end. And then I don't shoot for retirement, and I'm not looking for a particular stage in my life where I'm completely relaxing. In Judaism, there's a lot of concepts, but there's certain concepts that don't exist in Judaism. One of those concepts is retirement. Mm-hmm. Did you know this, Nav? Mm-hmm. Retirement does not exist in the whole Torah or Gemara or commentaries at all. It doesn't exist. It's just a common modern day thing that's been brought out. There's some other words or things that are kind of interesting, but that's one that always stands out in my head. So the grind doesn't stop. But again, as long as you're kind of continuously always evaluating what am I doing and is this where I need to be? Am I on the right path? Then it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm still getting close. I'm not necessarily not trying to get closer to anything, but you're always kind of refining it and pretty much onto the right path.
Can you share your perspective on that, and how you think the social media environment is affecting what's happening today, and how so many people that are for lack of a better word, kind of ignorant to really what's happening to them?
I think the biggest Trojan horse in modern history is TikTok. And it's so obvious. And it's just mind-blowing how obvious it is. But unfortunately, nothing is being done about it. When TikTok came out a couple of years ago, there were some outcries about it, but it kind of simmered out. My own experience, a couple of years ago, I jumped on TikTok. And after just a couple of minutes of using it, there were some certain videos that were tailored towards me. I'm like, how did it that quickly figure out exactly what I gravitated towards? And the more that I use it, I'm like, this is crazy. The algorithm is not just tailored to whatever the path that is taking me down, but also it's never ending. It's fast paced. It forces you to go to the next one, and you basically get psyched into this constant barrage of messaging that's instilling in you consciously and subconsciously. And the consumers of TikTok are literally, for lack of a better word, are getting brainwashed. Brainwashed by what? By algorithms. What's the algorithms? Algorithms are pretty much the codes or the codes for getting you to continue watching it more and more. And what gets people to watch more and more? It's usually negative messaging. Because people, just like how everybody watches the news, right? It's so hard to look away from a car accident or be around the freeway and everybody stops to look. The same exact reason people gravitate towards negativity. Well, guess what? The machines want us to continue using it. And then whatever type of video that would get longer engagement and longer view rate will be shown more and more. And over time, you have these certain agendas or these certain negative perspectives on things over and over that's fed to people. And it's fed mostly to younger people. And the young person's mind isn't as refined as other people's. They're not willing to question it. They just take whatever that they see, they take it for face value. And over time, you'll be surprised. Maybe it doesn't into minutes, hours, days, weeks, and months of use of this. Before you know it, the kids are completely brainwashed. So, there's a lot of that been happening for the last couple of years, and so much more so since the attack happened. And it's scary. I'm very concerned about the next generation. Right. I would never want any of my kids on TikTok. I'm not I got off TikTok a couple of years ago
as a consumer.
And it's crazy. And I don't want to know what's going to happen in the next 20 years when this younger generation grows up and now has these ethos and these ideas that's been instilled from many, many years ago, and now it's about to get expressed into action.
It's incredibly scary, but I do think we need to get in front of it. That's my perspective. I'm personally not much of a consumer myself. We do have a TikTok account. I'm sure you use it for your business as well. I'm sure it's also very successful in that regard as well, because it really does push the needle on certain things, right? But I don't know how I feel about just completely ignoring it. Whether for my kids or for someone who wants to be an activist to combat this cancer that's going on. And so I'm trying to think of how do we, as individuals who understand it, because we at the minimum, the first thing you could do to solve a problem, you need to understand what the problem is combat it and improve it. And you seem to be at a position where you're like, nah, it's a lost cause. Like, whatever you're going to do, you're not going to be able to fight this beast because the masses are above you and all this stuff. But there has to be something that we could do, whether it's, hey, let's continue to bring more meaningful content. Maybe it's a little bit more challenging, more of a controversial content, but at the end of the day, it's truth. versus the crap and shit that's being thrown out in some of this stuff. So I don't know. I want to urge you, as well as some of the other leaders in this space, to help us combat this, because I don't think we're going to be able to survive in the future and the impact to our kids. Because at the end of the day, you might have the belief of, okay, I'm never going to allow my kid to have TikTok, but that's something that not a lot of parents can live with, because some other parents are like, no, I don't want my kid to be completely sheltered from this. So what's the solution, right?
You mentioned it is kind of us being responsible for us to create positive content. Ever since the attack, I found a lot of my friends that were not on social media, or were never ever posted on social media, all of a sudden started posting. Right. And I'm like, and that's great, amazing. Let's continue at it. And I think we have a responsibility to for all of us, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, what it is, to spread positivity and spread good light. And the more we can do that, it's never going to override. I don't think it's ever going to override the darkness, but at least we could do our part to spread that message. And, if the world is going to do whatever the world's going to do. But at the very least, our own inner circles and our own things that we watch and consume, if we can be the producers of those things, then let's do that.
What do you think is kind of like some of the secrets for the lawyers these days that are investing heavily in ads? What are some secrets that you recommend for them for the year to come? Because I know you got to always pivot. So anything that you can share with us?
So law firm growth is very systematic, right? It just comes down to getting more clients, making sure that you have a team that could help you set up the clients and help you serve the clients. There's a math component, which is know your numbers about how much each client costs you for you to generate, and also on the back end, what's the value of those things. And then there's some automation stuff that needs to be set up. And there's also on the front end, there's traffic, which is basically where your clients come from. It's very important to get into a program that could show you for each of those 5 things that I just mentioned, what's working right now. And these things change so much. And what we do inside of our programs is we share things that are working currently for us. Me as a law firm owner, I'm currently doing all these things myself. I will talk about things that I think you should do. These are the things that I do on a mass scale. And we share that. And also any feedback that I get, any data that I get, and we share inside of our community, that gets fed back. So join one of those programs straight up. It'll give you the highest chance. The ROI is definitely there. However much you invest to join our program is nothing compared to how much you can make on the back end if you just follow through and follow our guidance. So yeah, just join one of those programs. Join My Legal Academy. Just go to, just Google My Legal Academy or go on YouTube or go on Facebook. Just search for us and join us.
Sure. No, I appreciate that. Last thing, AI. Everyone's talking about it. There's been some news about it. My experience with it before it is I share this story where I started off in kind of the Big Four. And, I told you a little bit about this, where basically, when I started the work that I was doing as a new associate, new accountant, coming fresh out of college, the type of work that I would be doing is not even anything compared to the type of work that a new associate does today. The stuff that I was doing just a few years after I started was all delegated, outsourced to VAs, right? Which opened up the new associate to be able to do more strategic type accounting work. And then it allowed the higher levels to continue to focus on what's some of the more critical tasks at hand. That shifted over a few years to these big organizations building out automations. I don't know if you're familiar with, in the accounting space, they use a lot of Alteryx. I don't know if you're familiar. It's just basically a system that helps automate a lot of repetitive tasks. Mm-hmm. So, while the organizations thought that this was going to be a complete game changer and change the way, the accounting industry is going to be profiting, I thought the overall impact was relatively minimal. Why? Because I thought that a lot of the work went from low working hour VA type work, repetitive work, to being automated. Yes, it allowed the VAs to do more of that stuff, but over time it didn't take away it didn't take away from what everyone is scared about. Is like, oh, is my job going to be at risk because, I can't be able to consult with my client. I can't be able to deliver tax strategy. As I know that you've already implemented a lot of AI in your practice, how do you feel about the ability of AI to actually take away from some of the high level thinking of the lawyers, of the accountants, and of all the highly skilled practitioners?
It's just a matter of time.
You think it's gonna happen?
Yeah. It's not a matter of if. It's definitely a matter of just the question of when. That's for sure. Let's just get that out of the way. So a lot of work is at risk, but workers will take some time. So instead of taking 5 people to do something, it could necessarily just take the one operator who's the best out of all them to be able to use AI to be able to take over, to be able to replace their work, 5 people's work, with just one operator. So it'll take some time for it to be implemented by companies. So just because the technology exists doesn't mean all companies all of a sudden overnight will switch over to this, turning on AI. It'll take some time. I can share with you the smarter law firms and smart businesses and we continue using it more and more. And then you mentioned, the higher specialized kind of workers. The more that I use AI, the more I realize once you understand technology and what it's capable now and how quickly it's advancing, it will eventually replace even the specialized workers. Again, it won't completely wipe out the entire position. Instead of being 5 of those people, it's going to be 1 or 2 people max. So you really have to get good at it. Be the top, 5-10% of your position. You still need then the operator is required. You can't just leave at least at this point until AGIs and things that come out where they could do a lot of the work.
What's an AGI?
Artificial General Intelligence, which is kind of like the buzzword of the month in the time we were recording this. Artificial General Intelligence just means that it's an AI that's possibly even smarter than a human. It's not just doing stuff that could help you work, but it actually supersede a potential human being.
Right.
And just Elon Musk just a couple of days ago was asked about this, and he said, "How long?" Essentially, your question: how long will it take for AGI to be able to take over? And he thought about it, and he said, less than 3 years. So that was his answer. So we'll see.
Wow. And so was it? I know that the guy from OpenAI, was it Sam Altman? Is it?
Mm-hmm.
He got fired recently, and there's a whole debacle about it. What was the rumors about that?
Short gist of it is nobody knows exactly what happened, but the top hypothesis was that they had a huge discovery, which could be tied to the AGI, which is basically some kind of discovery that they realized that this thing that we're creating could actually be smarter than humans and it could actually override humans potentially. And Ilya was one of the not a co-founder, but one of the top people there who's on the board. It was quote unquote very ethical, quote unquote. Basically, I guess had some beef with Sam Altman over this, where Sam Altman feels like he's just gone to the wall. Let's just take this, use this technology to figure out what's behind there. So let's see what it is. And Ilya's more conservative, where he's like, no, let's not even open up this bottle. This could open up a can of worms that we're probably not ready for. And there was some big, whatever it was a big dispute, which resulted in them needing to fire. But unfortunately, the company, needs a good leader, and they kind of see Sam Altman as the leader. So Sam Altman is back, which is kind of, again, going back. If that was the case, then I'll be back to the lawyer,
right.
the person who is kind of risky. So yeah, I guess maybe
3 years, maybe 1.5 years.
Yeah, some cool kind of movie or book will come out of this.
I'm sure of it. Oh man, so just to close the loop for the lawyers out there who are, everyone's concerned about AI, what's your recommendation for them? How do they buy into it? What's the best way to get into it and make sure that they're fully prepared? I mean, 2 years, 3 years is going to go by, and
very practically have ChatGPT open on your computer screen and use it as often as you can, and then also be open-minded to a lot of AI tools that you hear about, chat-based GPTs, creating GPTs and things like that, and just be familiar how it works, be a user of it, and if you you're a user, and while who are not users, then you'll be ahead of the market. And all you want, it's a curve, right? You don't necessarily need to be a AI superstar, but as long as you're in the top 10% of AI users, then you're probably ahead of the curve.
It's good. Well, I appreciate that, Sam. It's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for joining us. I hope you come back very, very soon. I wish you all the best as we approach the holidays. Happy holidays. And we'll have you back soon.
Appreciate it, bro. Take care, brother. Thank you.